obsessed with what I meant to say. And when I try to make sense of it all, I get lost in the moment and let the moment slip away. There's something about the words you say.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, show number 319 on this July the 21st, 2023. Tonight's episode is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com and get great podcasts, great articles for all sports. Football's right around the corner. They got all kinds of stuff going on. And actually, on Saturday morning, probably won't be out, but there's a good college football preview show up on their YouTube channel. Go to Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. Check that out. Dave, I am a special Friday night edition of the show here. I am in beautiful Vauxhall, Alberta. Umpire in chief for the American Legion Districts. Lots of baseball going on all summer long, but I'm 1420 on the road. How's things there in Left Rock tonight?
They're hot, brother. We had about a 5-minute thunder shower, which it smells like the mountains here, and it'll be like that for about another 10 minutes, and then it's just going to be hot again, and that's what it does. And so it was. I jumped in my car at about 2:30 this afternoon, and the car thermostat, which I realized runs a little high, set an outdoor temperature of 37. I imagine it was like tickling 40 in Vauxhall, Alberta then.
Vauxhall, Alberta, I think she was getting closer to 57 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. Actually, it was hot. Like
you're on Mercury.
It was it was something else. Breath of wind came up, you were thankful, but then as soon as the little breeze went away, it honestly felt temperature was going up 7 or 8 degrees every second. It was warm, but what are you going to do? It's better than it's going to be 3 months from now. Right. So it's one of those things you take solace in a little bit, realize that October's not very far away, and you go, you know what, it's warm, you be uncomfortable, but there's cold beers right around the corner. So you make it work.
Did you buy those sky blue polo shirts for your crew like I asked you to?
No, we did not get those for this tournament. The guy brought them up there. He said, yeah, I got new shirts coming up for you guys from Montana State. And he had the exact same ones we were wearing yesterday, the black ones going on, but we're getting the blue ones will probably show up in October when it is 5 below, whatever, one of those deals. So
I'm like Costanza, who wanted a chair for the security guard.
Chair for the security guard, and the Yankees couldn't wear polyester, they were cotton. That worked out for old Costanza and everything.
I'm just trying to make your life better, buddy. That's all.
Well, it was warm, but like the games have been really, really good. Like there's been what we have a 4-3, 4-2, 6-1, 5-1, 2-1 game, and it's 2-1 Vauxhall across the street right now against Lethbridge. So the games have been great actually for 15 to 18-year-old baseball. It's been going really, really quick. It's getting the umpires out of the strike zones might be a bit big because it's so hot. You say, let's get out of here. But no, the baseball's been great. The people of Vauxhall have been fantastic in the 36 hours I've been here so far, staying at the Vauxhall Jets dorm, like I'm circa 1992, the old Notre Dame dorms back here. But yeah, it's kind of neat. It's nice. It's nice. It's good. We're going to the Corona Tavern tonight for a couple, which is actually kind of neat because the tournament's in Vauxhall, but none of the teams are staying in Vauxhall because there's no hotels, right? So they're all the parents and teams and coaches, whatever, they go back to Tabor. So the umpires, we got free reign around around Vauxhall tonight, so nobody will know what the boys in blue are getting up to. So it should be all right.
Two things. as a dorm room, I don't see any Sports Illustrated swimsuit editions on the walls or anything.
Well,
They make kids take 'em off?
boy, like the Jets are gone, right? So I didn't have time to redecorate the room when I got here yesterday. So it's one of those deals. They no, it's a really cool dorm. Like it's actually pretty neat how they got this all set up. It's baseball centric. The baseball field's right across the street, and they got different training. It's a really cool thing they got going on here in Vauxhall.
And so it's Lethbridge, Vauxhall, Fort McLeod, and a couple Montana teams.
Lethbridge, Vauxhall, Fort McLeod, Medicine Hat, and then you got Havre, Great Falls, Tri-County, which is like Conrad, Libby, that area, and Lewistown are the 18s playing right now. So
Lewistown, isn't that in Idaho?
No, or Lewiston.
Okay.
It's Lewiston and Lewistown.
Okay.
Lewistown is Idaho. Lewiston is Montana.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they're treating you to good ball, and I hope it's not too hot. But
it's supposed to be worse tomorrow. Yeah,
yeah,
of course,
I read that.
And
too,
I screwed up. I got the 10:00 game, but then I got the late plate game to end things off tomorrow night. So hopefully it's a little cooler tomorrow night. It's not bad right now out here. It's a little overcast, but it's been fun. It's been fun.
Get those soaked towels and put them in your cooler. Soak them with ice and put them around your neck.
There's no room. Those things are full of Bud Lights, man. There's no room for fucking towels.
Well, then don't bitch to me about.
I'm not bitching.
Hot.
I just said it was hot. Like I don't complain. I don't complain when it's hot. I don't like it's like I said. I told a bunch of kids today they were bitching it was hot, and they said, yeah, in two short months when the first snowflake falls, we'll be bitching about how cold it is already, right? So just let it be. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You're playing baseball.
You drink lots of water or Gatorade or whatever, and you're playing baseball. So you could be doing a lot worse things. Dave, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been preoccupied with this baseball thing. Lots going on. I haven't watched a lot of sports, but during my travels a little bit, I turn on some different podcasts, and I try to stay away from the watching sports because the Yankees drive me absolutely up the freaking wall, crazy. But we won't get into them again because that seems to be it. Just sets me off. But there was a lot of talk about NFL running backs and how they're kind of getting squeezed out of the payroll of things and how they're going, and they're not getting their dollar value in their own heads and what they're going. We compared them. I think we were the first ones in the history of the sports world to compare running backs to NHL goaltenders.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the thing where you have an NHL goaltender is only as good as they can be and everything else. But and NFL running backs, they go in and out and get out of the realm of things. But the NFL running back was a big topic of conversation about the sports world this week about being underpaid. What's your thoughts on that?
I get it that this is what the market is telling running backs that they have to get paid. And I totally understand a franchise not willing to commit long-term to them. But my problem with the entire situation is this franchise tag. And that's on the union as much as the owners. Get rid of this franchise tag. So what the franchise tag means, like that I signed, so I'm Tony Pollard. I signed my rookie deal. I've been playing for $500 to $1.1 million for the last 5 years. My time is now done. I have done everything asked of me for 5 years, and you paid me the amount of money owed to me on the contract that I signed. But now in the NFL, when they have this franchise tag, the league can say, and no, you're working for us one more year at the average salary of the top 5 at your position, which is going down and down and down. And then I think that's absolute bullshit, because now the player has done his service. He did everything that was asked of him. And now you're telling me that I have to work for one more year at a predetermined figure? Fuck off. If this is unfair to the running backs, like, then to just drop the franchise tag. I think that would solve anything. No more franchise tagging running backs. And then now it becomes a free market process that all these owners propose to say, like, it's a free market. That's how they get $1 billion. But now you're telling this employee of yours, even though you did everything I have asked of you, you got to work one more year for me at a cut rate.
See, the thing is who thought this was a good idea to begin with? Like at the end of the day, somebody signed a contract. Someone came up with an idea. Someone said, "Hey, this is the best thing we can get," and they signed the deal. And when you go into professional sports or any job in the world, when you sign a contract and you don't read the dotted line and and cross the i's and dot the t's, this is what you got. And I understand that running back's a tough position and the like, and NFL football is one of those things that the average career is 3 years or whatever. It might even be less now, 2.5 years. I think they've talked about when a guy signs that deal, how it got to that point where they felt like at what point did the players union think this was a good idea to have this contract? Because was there a point where guys were getting longer deals because of this franchise tag? Like you think about the other way around of things.
No, but now that it has shifted, like, Ezekiel Elliott, that my main beef here isn't with the owners. My main beef here right now is with the NFLPA. Like, that's clearly to me the weakest players association, because they bend the knee all the fucking time.
No guaranteed contracts and on it goes. Yeah.
It's the only sport with that. And it's the only sport that forces you to play for them for a reduced amount. And I say reduced amount because that's why they sign him to a franchise tag, because they know in the free market it's going to be more. And so they're now, by able to franchise tag all these guys, they're able to keep the market for running backs artificially low. So the deck is stacked in the owner's favors, and these guys, they totally understand they don't have that much earning potential. So I think after, like, if a back is able to even last in the league for 5 years, let them test the free agent market immediately, because this franchise tag thing is doing them wrong. And by the very nature of capitalism, one pays someone for someone's services, and the person supplying the services is going to take the best contract for them. But this doesn't do it. It forces them into a deal that they don't want to do.
What's the alternative though, Dave?
Get rid of the franchise tag. That's it. That's the only thing they have to do.
But why was this thing instituted in the first place? What I'm getting at, like, if this was such a if it's such a bad deal now, why wasn't it a bad deal 10 years ago when they first started, or 15 years ago, whenever this franchise tag first came around? Like, at some point, it was a very good idea for the Players Association. Like,
never.
These things, it must have been, or else they wouldn't have signed it.
No, because then the owners would have given back on something like per diems or something. Like, this is just, I think the owners have been running this league and still are to such a high rate, more so than any other league, because there's so many goddamn players that have a vote. And then you have, for every Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes making 30 million plus, you have 50 players making $500,000 a year or less. And they just want a fucking job. And then so they're going to vote yes for everything the owner has, and I understand, but like the NHL, I keep saying that the NFLPA has to drive it into their heads. I don't know how, just say, like, we're signing shitty deals for us. We need guaranteed money. We got to get rid of this franchise tag because it's fucking guys out of their paychecks. Out of what they're
Dave, I don't know if it's fucking guys out of their paycheck. It's actually, I think, and like we argue about this before. I think what it is just getting payrolls to what they're supposed to be. It's so ridiculously out of control that guys were making money they shouldn't have been making. Now that the actual market value is getting to where they should be, like we talked, you sent me that message about Samsonov for the Ilya Samsonov, the goalie for the Leafs. He wanted $7 million. The Leafs said
4.9. Yeah,
whatever, and then the Leafs said no. Like, fuck off. You're just a goalie. Like, whatever. We'll get somebody else to do it. Like, I think that the salaries got so high, and now that there is such the line between a great player and a good player isn't that huge anymore. Right? Like, you have serviceable guys that can play in a position that don't need to make $9 million, $10 million, $15 million, whatever it is. And I just think that owners are like, okay, that guy is, we won with him. and that guy's making this and this. Well, why am I paying this much money? And only one team wins a year. And so why am I paying other than the superstar guy? And maybe that should be the franchise tag. And that's how you can pay this one guy that like change the franchise tag around. You can get one player on your team that if you want to give him 50 million, 60 million, 70, $100 million, you get one like for the franchise, you get that, because the rest of the players are now, they're so close in skill level now in every sport that it doesn't make that much of a difference to the ownerships or GM or whatever it is, in my opinion. I don't know.
No, and I agree with that. I agree with everything you just said, but
Fuck, we better end the show.
No, but like the differences are now, like the Samsonov, this is arbitration. So the arbiter gets to say, he sits down with the Leafs. Why do you think you want to pay him 2.5? And he listens to they listen to the agent of the goalie. Like, why do you think you're worth 4.9?
The GM says, well, here's why he's not. And then it's a pissing match. Yeah.
And then the arbiter says, okay, no, I agree with the player. You have X number of days to sign him. And if you don't, he's a free agent. That's just do that with the running backs. You know, and we're not, I don't think these running backs are asking for 8-year deals because they know they're not going to last 8 years. They're going to ask for a heavy 2-year deal. Right?
So why like I'm going to ask you once again, why was this deal made 15 years ago that this happened? Like what benefit was it to anybody on the player side?
I think it was because of the masses that don't make good money. And when I say good money, I mean underneath $750,000 a year. And the NFL is just littered with that. And I get it. That's a good wage. That's a good wage.
But it's only for 3 years. So it's your entire life's work is gone in 3 years. Like I get it.
And you might, and a lot of them are going to be hurt and have things. And because you didn't play enough games, you don't have medical coverage. Like I get it. I get all that shit. But that's what I'm saying. And just make it a free market system. No more franchise. Like, no, you have to work for this much, and they don't have a choice.
The thing is, Dave, you're crying and you're crying over and playing the fiddle for a guy still making $8 million a year. This franchise tag thing doesn't affect the guy making $500,000. Like you like for everything you described has not helped the fucking the $800,000 guy at all. It's still the $10 million running back. Like everything you described has not helped out the lower paid guy at all. Nothing.
Remove the franchise tag. Let him go. Like, so, like, what do you want me to do?
But there's only one franchise tag, correct?
No, I get it. Yes, you're right.
So what about the lineman who's there for 2 years? You haven't defended his income at all. So all you're doing is
No.
All you're doing is putting more money into a running back. You're saying give a running back more money. Who blocks a running back?
I'm not saying give a running back more money. I'm saying let them test the system. Let them test the free market.
So who's testing the system?
The system is rigged against guys they don't want to pay. Kirk Cousins did it in Washington for 2 years. Kirk Cousins is fine. No, I'm not saying he's not. But then let the market decide how much you're worth. Don't let your employer.
But there's only one franchise player per team.
I know, and they're doing it on running backs, for fuck's sake. You know what? That's why
running backs are still making at least $5 million a year, at least.
Yeah, but they're underpaid. Well, and you got fuckers like you got wideouts making $15 million a year. You got DBs making $9 to $15 million a year, and the running back doesn't even have the chance to make that money because they're being artificially kept down by the franchise tag. Because
the game's a passing game now, though, right? Really?
I get it. But
then running backs aren't that valuable.
Then let them test the market. I
agree. Like but there's guys smarter than us that are saying if we can get another running back and we can use him for another year, why not?
And the guys smarter than us are working for the NHL, not the NFL, not the NFLPA. That's my point. Let them test the market. Don't tell them how much they're worth. Let someone else. And then NFL, they should go baseball style. no salary cap, and like there's your cap, and then you have.
I don't think it would matter that much in the NFL. To be honest with you, they're all billionaires. It wouldn't matter.
But then why are they quibbling over $4 or $5 million a year for a running back? If it doesn't matter.
I mean, rich people like money, right? So if you don't got to give it away, they don't.
And they're not.
Right. And they don't, and they won't. Right.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And I get it, because if I'm getting this production of that guy and this production of that guy, why am I going to pay any more? I get it to an extent, but like I don't like it. I think it's not right. That like I think if you're a top 30 at any trade or whatever you do in the world, you should be paid as a top 30 trade in the world, right? No matter what it is. And for these guys not to get money, not be able to go out and well, because there's only the one league, right? And and that's how it is. Like at least the NHL, they gave it a shot. Not the NHL so much, but the KHL. There was guys back in the 90s and early 2000s there that were going to the KHL that were getting paid good money from the Russian mafia for that league startup. So there was an opportunity for other players to make money in that league. The NFL has the market cornered so badly, and like the USFL and the XFL and whatever else fucking leagues they got, the football players have kind of done it to themselves, and football fans have kind of done it to not themselves, but they made the NFL so big, owners don't give a fuck. What do they care?
And it's not an international sport.
It's not.
USA.
One country plays it. Other than a few kickers from Australia, it's true.
It is, and the odd lineman or kicker from Canada, and that's about it. Like,
and that's it. So
there's some skilled receivers from Canada, but that's it.
Few and far between.
You bet. This is an American sport, and they've made the rules, and this is how it is. But back to the original point.
No, I agree that they shouldn't. That franchise tag is ridiculous. And back when I didn't, we weren't doing this podcast. And this is like when the franchise tag first came out. I thought, geez, I'm the franchise guy. That's a pretty good deal. I'm the franchise. Yeah. I get paid as much as possible. Nope. Turns out it isn't that way. Complete opposite.
Nope. Yeah. It's not the opposite, but like you're not getting paid what you're worth, because if we were paying what you were worth, then we wouldn't franchise tag you.
Would you be against that? You can pay one guy as much as you want. Like if you want to give one guy $100 million a year, go ahead. It doesn't hurt your cap.
And it counts to 10, like it counts to
10% or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Fuck. Let her buck.
Like have a max what that guy can make. Like have the max franchise tag, whatever sport it might be. If I want to give Connor McDavid $20 million a year, I give him $20 million a year. And have that as the max level. Are you against that idea?
Not at all.
But then you still have, my max guy is only making 16. Or do you have to have one $20 million guy?
You have to have a max guy.
You have to have a max guy, and he's your guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a piss and match in the locker rooms, wouldn't it?
Oh, wouldn't it? And then you think about a team like Arizona that trades for all these retired contracts to make the floor.
They'd still be paying Pronger $20 million. He's still better than all those other fuckers.
and then now all of a sudden $8 million, like it might be a retired guy who's their max guy.
Yeah, Chris Pronger.
And now
still.
Now they got
never even wore a Coyotes jersey. He'd still be the highest paid player.
Yeah,
he actually still might be. Who knows? I don't know. It's
the only signature they've seen of his is on the back of a paycheck.
It's nuts. Like you just wonder, and we've talked about this a lot. Like I think it's actually like the owners and GMs and CEOs and the budget crunchers, everybody else, they're looking at the dollars and cents more and more, and they're like, we're just not paying for this anymore. We're not. We don't need to. Like we don't need to.
And it could be because NFL is just a machine, right? It came out and they're. Jesus, I can't remember. It was like $17 billion they've made this year. They made profit. The NFL as an organization. That's a lot of dinero, man.
Yeah, it's like a WCBL umpire. It's about that much in a podcaster, really, when it comes down to it. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Decimal place. Yeah, it is a lot of money. And then, so why nickel and dime these guys that only have a 5-year career, right? Like they've given you the 5 years, and it doesn't make sense to me.
There was that show that Deanne watched, and then I caught on to it on Netflix or HBO or whatever it was, called Succession. And it really shed a light on like not rich people, but disgustingly rich people, how they operate. And it's something I don't understand, right? Like I never will, but like there's just how it all works. And it's just like, it doesn't make logical sense. Like
I've watched money,
how much money do you possibly not, it's not even a possibly need. Like they're talking about losing $1 billion. They're like, oh, well, it happened. Like, whatever.
They'd rather not, but.
There was the other day they were talking, I was listening to Colin Cowherd and he had Derek Jeter on, and they were talking about it always goes back to Ohtani, but don't want to get on that train again. But they were talking with Jeter about, would he go here? Would he go there for $20 million less? Like when you're making $600 million, what's if you're making 580, what's $20 million? And Jeter said, well, it's $20 million. You're like, it's still $20 million, right? And he said in his cool Jeter way, he's like, granted, it's still $20 million. Like it still will set somebody up really well, right? So it's crazy. Like, and the money, the advertising and all that makes the world go round. It's absolutely insane. Like we'll never figure it out. And we don't know how the ins and outs work, and winning and losing doesn't really mean a whole bunch to most of these owners. When they do win, when they do fall in a can of warm soup and win one, they're happy and they get the Super Bowl trophy before anybody else does, because that's who's the most important person on the team is the owner, which is really, really prevalent in the NFL. It is. Like
every sport except for hockey.
For hockey, the owner gets it first, right? And so it's really obvious who the MVP of every team is the owner. And the only reason why there's teams and leagues is for owners to make more money, and that's it. And it's shitty. It's really shitty. And that's this franchise tag. I don't understand it. Why? I'd like to know why it got proposed originally. Like who said we need this to the owners? Like, why did it come about?
I think it was the players union says we want this, and then the owners say no, you can't have this, but this is what we'll do. And then how the players signed off on it, like 15 years ago, I don't know, but this franchise team is fucking their. It's fucking their membership of the NHL, the NFLPA. Because even like you said,
you're such a big NFL fan. You say NHL every time.
I don't know why I do that. It's fucking weird. But nonetheless, the PA, like
big fan.
And like say Brock Purdy last a couple more years. He was what did we find? I looked it up, the 39th highest paid quarterback. Last year, or
$600,000 or something.
It was ridiculously low, and then so now so he outperforms his rookie deal, and they made a ton of money and wins against him. Let's pretend he progresses, and then now they're going to tag him, like he's been underpaid. Like so he was like for whatever fucking $500,000 he made last year, he was clearly underpaid.
Yeah.
He was clearly underpaid. And I get it. Like that's just where you got drafted. This is a contract you have to sign. I'm not bemoaning that. But I will
never ever be against rookie deals.
Yeah.
Never.
No,
ever.
and I understand that the owners need protection from themselves. I'll give them that. Because Jamarcus Russell.
You think if there wasn't the backhanded crooked deals that would happen on draft day, oh man.
You bet. And
it would be bad.
Once again, I'm not bemoaning that. But once they fulfill that rookie deal, they should be immediate. If they're not re-signed with the team that they signed for, they should become immediate free agents. They shouldn't have to demand another year of service being underpaid.
Yeah,
and
if they're weird. I didn't know the ins and outs of it until Dave explained it to in his fine form here in the 1420 Sports Bar podcast.
I'm a teacher at heart.
There you go. The 1420 Sports Bar podcast, 4 beer, sports talk, and a whole lot more. This segment is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer, sports talk, and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network.